welcome everybody to another Paint and Ponder with today we have the fabulous Samuel SP Chef.
Hello, Alex.
And yeah, thought since it's Pride Month and we're both, well, I like to call myself queer. I like queer. I find that a yummy word to describe myself. But yeah, thought get some paints out, get colourful, and just have a ponder about growing up that way, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. These normally go on an hour or two, so we won't fill the whole thing. But
No, of
yeah.
course, yeah. We'll start it and then we'll see what we'll see, darlings.
I've got my pooches with me today. Hopefully we're going to
All
have a
right.
nice, look a bit settled now. We're going to be good today.
They
Maybe.
yeah. They look relaxed.
I don't know who we've got here. Is Clearwater Chad might be here. Hello, if you're here. I'm just going
Hello,
to
darling.
get it turned around.
Sure.
Just
Yeah,
be
I
on
need to
my.
turn my one around. Excellent. Wow. I've never seen anything like that. I think this is such an excellent idea, and it really completely encaptures the story of the pink elephant, just being there and then not being there.
Yeah.
Really,
Your
really well
reactive mind.
executed. Yeah.
And then just stop making it up.
Exactly.
Easy as that.
Easy as that, darlings.
So yeah, I'm in the middle of many projects. So I've got that one, and then I was doing the boob rock for Nance Drew and Boobgate.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be the Boobgate rock.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Today I decided to do another one of my art bottles. I like to call them have a bottle of art or enjoy a bottle of art. And what this basically is I take an old wine bottle usually. I mean, I do have a few empty gin bottles, so I might do something with them at some point. But I would take a bottle of wine that I've enjoyed with friends, with family, and then I will write down the date with whom I've enjoyed the bottle. This bottle I've enjoyed with Andrew, a good friend of mine. And then I basically remove all the labels and then add the white, ground paint on it. I have to add a few layers usually. And then after that, I just go over it with one of these thicker sort of eddings, and then make the pattern just randomly and not really think about it. Try to make it its own path, find its own path and do its own thing. Yeah. And then paint it. And today I've decided to go with green. I quite like green. I think green is a very nice, cheerful color. And for the simple reason that I've done a few of these bottles, but I've just never done one with a green vibe to it. So that's why I thought, okay, let's try out with this green vibe.
I like it a lot.
All right.
Green is one of my favorite colors. I like green and I like yellow.
Oh, really? That's my favorite colors, green and yellow.
Yeah, they are very happy colors.
I agree. Although I do have to admit, I don't actually wear green and yellow, not much. I wear mainly like blues and grays. And yourself?
I think you'd suit yellow.
Yeah,
I wear all of the colors all of the time. I dress like a clown or jester.
Fabulous.
But I'm always comfy.
Yeah, well, that's important, to be comfy. You have to get through the day somehow, darlings.
So you do sort of neurographic. That's neurographic art style, I would say.
Oh, is that how it's called? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the style you've done there.
Yeah.
And it's like just intuitive lines and yeah. So this is one that I did yesterday. You can see very well. The lighting is terrible.
Oh no, I can see well.
That's when
But
I
you have
did.
a
Yes.
couple of very perfect circles in there.
Oh yeah, I drew round something.
I like
That was
that.
not me freehand.
Yeah.
So I did all the squiggles first, then afterwards I went and did the circles, and then you go round, and everywhere the points meet, you just round off. And there's a
Okay.
part of the brain, the mirror neurons in the brain, it soothes and takes the edge off in your brain.
Right. Okay.
So there's all different styles you can do. You can do. I did one with Rika where I did it to music. So she
Right.
made the beats, and I did intuitive neurographic lines to the beats.
Mm-hmm.
So that style come out quite differently to the rest.
Yeah.
I say, trying to get it.
Yeah, I've done a few paintings like that as well, using music and trying to guide my hands and where the lines go based on the beat of the speed of the music and so on and so forth. Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So this has got a purple. I really can't tell. I tried to put the light on, but it's not. Is that better?
Yeah, I can see the purple, the goldish, yellowish color.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the one I did to music. I'm not finished that one yet. I just start 10 things. And then yes, I think I'll do something. I'll do neurographic art today. So it's different from neurographic art therapy. The therapy style has a sort of, I wouldn't say rules, but guidelines to be effective therapy.
Okay, sure.
But neurographic art side is just taking the general style and gist of this and having a much more free play with it in a more creative way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, this sort of style has been around for a while, since about the 1920s or so, from what I was able to research. And
Oh wow.
yeah, there's a Swiss artist, and of course his name now just escapes me. Paul Klee is his name, and he's done a few paintings in this similar style that we also do. And I find it interesting that it's been around for so long, and it's just being picked up again and again by other artists. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this is one I did with Natalie and Artoni. Call him Artoni in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Lovely.
But yeah, there's really so many different ways you can go with it. And then my inspiration was from Rika's short. You're still in the cult, Tammy.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought
I remember that.
Tammy
Yeah.
can be in a cult and have some fan art. I sort of have 10 on the go at once. It's just my
Goodness, yeah.
ADHD brain.
Okay, sure.
Are we okay in chat? Are we spinning? Hello, everybody. Hi, Brian. Hi, Maya. Thank you for being here. And Snuggle Squirrel. Thank you, Bob, for popping in to say hi. And Sins of Scientology. Hello to you both. Fabulous podcast you just released. That was on Ellie Perkins. Ellie Perkins. My brain's gone.
I haven't heard it yet.
It's brilliant. It was only out the other day. It's the newest podcast release. Yeah, if you have any questions, please do drop them in the comment section.
Indeed. For anyone who's curious, as I said earlier, I'm going to work with greens today, and I'm just getting my shadings for the different greens that I'm doing. Now, I don't have really a plan where to start on my painting, as in what green is going to go. I just have now a bit of finished green color here that I bought, and then I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, a bit of white, maybe a bit of blue, and to get a nice color. And then once I'm happy with that green, I'll just start, and then based on that, I will just move around the bottle and then decide it does take me some time to sort of start a larger piece, because I think, oh God, what if I mess up or make a mistake? Which of course is the wrong attitude, because in art you're supposed to make mistakes and learn from them, and then do other things and keep making mistakes until it's not a mistake anymore, basically.
Yep, it's not done till it's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's through my years of being a furniture maker, that was always something that I got complimented on, is my ability to roll with messing up.
Yeah.
So I'd just make a feature out of an F up. That's what we'd say. Well, that's what I'd say.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So if you're going to mess it up,
yeah,
you can at least own it and try and do something a bit unique with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, or like for example, in my case, when you work in the kitchen as well. For anyone who doesn't know, I am actually an actual chef as well. Sometimes you make a mistake, and then some people might get very nervous, and then they might throw away whatever they did. And the art, I guess, working in the kitchen would be to try to make something fabulous out of that mistake, make something new, make something unusual, and yeah. So that does happen every once in a while, and then you just have to sort of rise above that and try to make do with what you have, because sometimes you've used up the ingredients that you actually needed, and then you can't just redo it.
Yeah, you've got to be able to think on your feet, have solutions. There's one kind of person you cannot mess with. It is a hungry person.
A hungry person.
Yeah, you don't want to upset hungry people.
No. Others will get very hangry.
Yeah. Oh, I started out with empty pens. That's no good.
Empty pens?
Yeah, I've got the watercolor pens, and you fill them up with water.
Ah, right.
Because I just spill everything.
Yeah, I mean, it has happened to me already a couple of times that I would, not really look, and I would put my brush into my cup of tea instead of the paint water. I think this has happened to pretty much every artist.
Yeah. That isn't as bad as accidentally drinking the paint water instead of your drink.
No, yeah, because particularly your brain takes a moment to sort of realize.
I haven't done it, but I've seen someone do it on a YouTube video on like a live painting thing, and I was like,
oh goodness,
I will never live that down for you.
Oh goodness, yeah.
I will have nightmares about that on your behalf, don't worry. Oh, much easier when you've got it there, the water.
Yeah. So we were going to talk a little bit about, because it is now the month of June, so naturally it is Pride all over the place, and talk a little bit about our own maybe experience, how we grew up, thinking about that sort of thing, and maybe how we now think about it, comparison or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up rather boring. My family was Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
So I had, just sort of the Catholic guilt and shame. But yeah, nothing. It was nothing too overt.
Yeah.
But yeah, even then, it still really sticks with you. Well, with me anyway.
And how young were you when you sort of realized there was something fabulous about yourself that doesn't quite match with the rest of the family?
I just thought I was really cool. I thought I was really cool until I was in my 20s. I was like, I'm so cool. I have no attachment to boys.
Okay.
I just want to chill with the girl. I'm just such a good friend.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just such a cool person, and I don't care if a bloke never looks at me.
yeah, yeah,
And I just thought I was just really detached and cool and beyond anything.
yeah.
And then had my first proper girlfriend, and then I was like, oh no, I'm not immune to heartache. There we go. There it is.
Right. There it is.
Ouchies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think no one was shocked that that I'm gay, but no one told me, and I was just a very confused person for a long time.
What do you mean with no one told you? Do you mean like nobody ever asked you, are you gay, like, or anything like that made you think about it, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that I was gay, but none of like my close people, like bullies, told me. But bullies
Sure.
said a lot of things about me, so
Of course.
and they were only right half the time. So how was I supposed to know?
Yeah, yeah.
But
But you
yeah, I
did
remember
know,
being
what it was growing up, being gay and all of
yeah,
that. You were aware of that.
yeah. So my nan's like old school Catholic.
Mm.
She was raised in like a convent with nuns, and they'd like
Goodness.
tie her hand behind her back because she was left-handed and call her the devil. So that's how extreme they
Wow.
were. So my
Yeah.
nan, although she wasn't overt, she was still had a lot of disgust and disdain.
Mm.
Just like like on sort of the first adverts or the first gay people you seen on TV in the
Right.
90s, she
Right.
was very much turned her upper lip and was like, oh, turn that off.
Yeah.
So I got this unspoken confirmation that it was very shameful.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and obviously I heard a few stories about burning in hell for all eternity and thought, oh, that doesn't sound nice.
Not particularly.
Yeah. Did you sort of know quite young?
Not really. I actually didn't really. Um, I don't think when I was a child I was my bully. I mean, my bullies said all sorts of things, but I don't recall them ever calling me gay or anything like that. I don't remember that. But I mean, I did play with my sister's Barbie dolls naturally, and she actually had one
Hmm.
of those Barbie houses and like a Barbie car. And my sister, she left home when she was 14 years old because she joined the SEOC in working for Scientology. And so obviously all of her toys and whatever she had were left there, and I just sort of took them and started playing with them. But my parents never said anything about it. They never said, oh, why are you doing that, why are you playing with that. uh, I mean, I think it's more because they were not even aware that I was playing with them, because they
Yeah.
were not so much at home anyway, because they themselves were working for Scientology, but not in the Silk but as staff members. And yeah, the only thing I remember distinctly was when I was younger. So when I was 12, 13 years old, I had long hair down to my shoulders. Oh, the good old days when I still had hair. Anyway,
Hmm.
and my father said, "Oh, that boy needs to get a haircut. He looks like a girl." I do remember that distinctly. But other than that, I didn't. I was never told directly that what I was doing was gay or anything like that. But I was aware of gay and homosexuality because in Scientology that is a big no-no, and I learned about that very early. But I didn't really understand what that really meant, because there was no way of
Yeah.
asking anyone, because you immediately knew there was a bad thing. So you wouldn't want to be informed about it, really, because it's a bad thing anyway. So why would you want to learn any more about it, right? And yeah, so that was
I
me as a
think I think
child.
I
Yeah,
thought it was like a way of acting, like you would act gay.
right. Yeah, Yeah.
And I would try not. I remember being told off because I'd watch I'd watch King of Queens, and I'd have in retrospect, a massive crush on Leah Remini and Xena the Warrior Princess. I'm not sure if you've seen that.
Oh my goodness, yes. And
so I used to watch these shows.
Oh yeah, me too.
Catching
I love
flies with my mouth wide open.
Yeah.
And then if anyone was saying my name, I'd flinch like, like they'd caught me watching something I shouldn't.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, I definitely had big crushes on a lot of women growing up.
Yeah. But did you
But
perceive
yeah,
it as
I
being
didn't
a crush, or was it more that you sort of thought,
No.
I admire them, I want to be like them, I want to be able to do
Yeah.
bad things that they are doing, like that?
Yeah, but also I would quite like to be alone when I watch these shows.
Okay. So
Like not for any reason, I just don't want anyone else here. I don't want anyone else watching me watch it.
Yeah, you wanted to just enjoy the moment, you know, the show on your own rather than with somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that sort of feeling as well, and I would also think like, oh, I wish when I grow up, I'm gonna look as good as this guy. Not sort of not thinking like, really it was attractive or anything like that, but more, but he's very handsome clearly, and it'd be cool to be also that handsome, but for no other reason than just to be handsome, basically.
I remember sort of lots of the girls having crushes on different boys and them saying, who do you have a crush on? And I went home and we had a computer, in the old desktops.
Yeah, sure.
And I go on like Ask Jeeves, and I'm asking Jeeves what makes a boy good looking, and then it come back with something about the facial symmetry.
Yeah, okay.
And so I've gone into school. I was like, oh, I like Thomas, because Thomas has a symmetrical face, and statistically, as a human species, we're more likely to. Oh dear.
Oh wow. Very scientific of you, darling.
I am also very much on the spectrum.
Okay.
So how that didn't get diagnosed a lot sooner, I don't know. I got diagnosed with ADHD in primary school. I think I was in maybe like 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
But yeah, not the spectrum. I'm sure that would have been some signs there.
Right. Yeah, I would say I was about sort of 15, 16 when I sort of realized that there was something unusual about me. And at this point, I was in the Sea Org, so working for Scientology. And so I joined the SIG when I was 13 years old. And then, when I was about 15, 16, I thought there was something not quite right. There's something unusual. People, all the boys and the men, they're talking about other women and so on and so forth. And, I could nod and say, yes, this is a very good looking woman, attractive for sure. But, I sort of saw women as, and I still do, I see women like almost like a painting or like a statue in a museum, something very beautiful for me to look at, but not to be touched,
Yeah.
Like at the museum.
I wish everyone felt that way.
Well, yeah.
Just instead of all feeling entitled to touch away.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's sort of how I saw it. And I thought that everybody saw women in that sort of way. I mean, but then I sort of realized clearly that wasn't right, because they would say, talk about certain womanly features, if you know what I mean, that I sort of shrugged my shoulder and I thought, okay, interesting. And then when I was about 15, 16, and then maybe mid 16, maybe beginning 17, I was quite sure that I was attracted to men. And that was, of course, rather devastating for me, because again, in Scientology, it's a very bad thing to be gay. And so, yeah, I struggled for some time with that. But eventually, when I was 20 years old, I left the SEOG, and then I came back to Switzerland. So I was in the SEOG in England, in East Grinstead, and yeah, so then I came back to Switzerland, and then I think in 2013, so when I was then 21 years old, was the first time I kissed a boy, darling.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Was it everything you imagined?
It was incredibly awkward, and it was the battle of the teeth. I mean, I had no idea how to kiss. Literally, it sounds ridiculous now that I say it, but I had no clue what I was doing. It was very cringy, but yeah, I sort of figured it out after a while,
Yeah, bit of practice.
Yes, indeed. But
do you think it helped you leave Scientology? That the fact that you knew it wasn't sort of compatible with your happiness?
I mean, the reason why I left the SEOG, because I left the SEOG when I was 21 years old, and I think I would say I left the Scientology itself, the belief of it, and that it all works and it's fabulous and all of that. I would say I left that when in 2015, 16, I started to look on the internet. So maybe with 24, 25 years old, that was when I was able to say, okay, I think I'm not a Scientologist. So the reason why I left the SEOG was basically really because of my homosexuality. And it is because of my homosexuality that I left the SEOG. So I'm grateful for that, because I'm pretty sure I would still be working in the SEOG if it weren't for that. I'm quite sure, because I was very, somebody just going with the flow and doing what they're told. I wasn't, saying no, or as we would say in Scientology, backflashing. I wasn't doing any of that. I was very obedient and did everything I was told to do. And so I'm pretty sure I would still be there now, even though I probably would still be very unhappy, even if I would have been straight. But because to me, I didn't know anything else. I didn't know any better. To me, this Scientology was everything that I knew, and I was genuinely scared to go outside to learn anything else about the. Yeah, I mean, Tori Magoo says it very nicely. She often describes it as being in the Truman Show, and then sort of escaping that and just sort of realizing, oh my God, I've been in a cocoon of a fake reality. And yeah, I mean, once I started to go on the internet and watching different videos talking about Scientology and what it really is, seeing the secret materials and so on and so forth of Scientology, that slowly made me sort of wake up and realize it's not all that great. And yeah, but even though I did, as I said, left the SEOG when I was 20 years old, and I started to explore my sexuality when I was then 21 years old, it took me many years to sort of shed the homophobia that I had. I mean, I was still very much, disgusted about myself and the thought of being homosexual. And for many, many years, I said to myself, well, if there was a way of pressing a button or something to sort of get rid of my homosexuality, I would immediately press it. And that took me some years to sort of get over that. And now I'm in a very comfortable place where I wouldn't exactly say I'm proud exactly to be gay, because as I see it, I haven't really done anything for the gay cause, so to speak. So I don't see, I don't really feel proud about that. But I feel very comfortable in it, and I also don't have any problem in telling people that I'm gay or anything like that. Whereas in the past, I would avoid it as much as possible. and only if directly confronted would I maybe say something.
Yeah.
How was that for
No,
you?
I get that.
For sort of like shedding the inner homophobia that you may have had towards yourself or other gay, lesbian people and so on?
My grandparents are sort of very, I would say are homophobic.
Sure.
But my parents are quite liberal,
Okay.
and well, I didn't really see my dad that much growing up, and my mom worked away a lot. We had an au pair.
What's that? Au pair? What is that?
It's like a live-in nanny.
Oh, right. Okay. Who then also lives at your house?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So we spent a lot of time with her, and she was a wild card. So
in a good way, I
yeah,
hope.
I just sort of got to do my own thing, really. Like I didn't really like I could go. I had a job at 14, and I could go out for sort of a few weeks and come back.
Okay.
So I sort of had maybe too much freedom and too much independence. Too young.
Too young, sure.
But so I learned a lot and I did a lot, but I just sort of kept. I think I was a very, very sad child, so I just kept myself quite busy with hobbies and just trying to do things to help the community. And I think, what I was thinking when I was listening to you speak about the pride, queues of lesbians stood waiting to give blood to our brothers who needed it when we had the AIDS and HIV crisis.
Sure.
And it makes me feel proud. It makes me feel very proud that I am of the same ilk,
fabulous,
or
fabulous group, so to speak.
Yeah. So I definitely. And just the fact that pride is, a bad thing in the Bible.
Right.
I'm just like, you know what? Screw you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be proud just because you're told me not to now.
Proper rebel you are, darling.
Oh, sometimes. I got I just like when things are right and just.
Right, as in like just.
Yeah.
It being just, yeah. I do understand that, absolutely. There's a lot of injustice and yeah. I haven't even really paid attention to the chat. See if
No, I'm awful. I'm notoriously bad at chat.
Let me just have a poke. Maybe somebody said, "How dare you paint that green? Stop right now!" And I've been ignoring that. So let me have a look.
Rose, I've got a selection. I've got Liz and Nora, and that's my brain's gone blank now, absolutely blank.
But you mean like Scientology needs to keep updating their list of suppressives? What do you mean?
No, I just feel like there should just be some more gay men in the SP community.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but we have Serge, of course.
Oh, Nance Drew
as well. That's true.
This is kind of doing what I want it to do.
What are those watercolor pencils or paintbrushes?
These are filled with water, and then I'm using the little paint tin here.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing fancy.
Well, nothing fancy over here neither, as long as it works marvelously.
Try and check the chat. Oh no, thank you so much, Snuggle Squirrel, for being here.
Sunrise Dawn from North Georgia. Marvelous.
Were you in Scientology? Yeah, you must have been around the time. I think Tori Magoo said that they were going to try and pretend not to be homophobic.
No. I mean, certainly not. No, certainly not when I was in the SEOC, and then I left in 2012. And then I remember later on, it was all basically what she said to that, and I thought, okay, well, fair enough. And so during the time when I was in the SEOC, or of course afterwards, as a simple Scientologist, there was never anything that I heard about, oh, let's embrace the gays, or rather the gay money.
Yeah, that's what they want. They're like, oh, double income, hey?
Exactly.
I was wondering, because I heard one of the people Aaron was speaking to outside Clearwater a few months back, but he said that he liked Scientology because it had really helped him with his relationship.
Okay.
So
that would be very much frowned upon, and I mean, they might in your face smile and say, oh, good for you, but you will soon find that it's almost like you just farted and everybody heard it, and then people will just slowly sort of not associate with you anymore, really not want to talk to you anymore. They're suddenly too busy to do things, and they might allow you to keep going to do the courses and so on and so forth, because you can do courses. I mean, there's no policy that says you're not allowed to do a course just because you're gay. As I recall, to do like upper courses, to go up the bridge of total freedom, darling, to do the OT levels, I think there is a special sort of eligibility setup that you have to do. And if you are homosexual, then you would be disapproved. So if you want to do the OT levels, I think you would be stopped. You would not be allowed to do that. But until you actually get up to do the OT levels, as far as I'm aware, they would allow you to do the courses, even when I was, still a Scientologist. But they just wouldn't, think of you very well. They will smile and pretend everything is fine, but they will talk in a very nasty manner about you in the back.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, because they will just see you as an aberrated being and nothing more than that.
Yeah. I wondered, when you were sort of going through your teen years, and you weren't. Well, I don't know. Did people sort of have that rebellious stage of showing romantic interest and sort of throwing caution to the wind to follow those teenage hormones?
Not really, because the consequences.
Fear.
Because of the fear of the consequences of what will happen. I mean, when I was in a cadetок first, so this is a part of the SEOC for children, and then you could join when you're 14 years old. You can do the EPF, which is like the boot camp, and then after that you will be an official. Because the person who told me, this person is very much a Scientologist, and this person believes in Scientology and so forth, but he's willing to talk to me, and he's conceded some points that I said, but he, for example, doesn't understand why I talk about it in a public way. Why do I talk about my experiences? Why do I talk to other people who've had these experiences and so on and so forth? And I told him, after he told me this, with you have to be 18 now, is, well, this is one of the reasons. that because we on the internet speak out, we are trying for Scientology to change their ways, and clearly they have changed. Now, I'm not saying that's entirely because of YouTubers and other activists speaking out and reporting about the abuse in Scientology, but I wouldn't be surprised if at least some credit would be, it would be appropriate to give some credit to that, and that is why Scientology has changed the tune in regards to you have to be 18 to join the Sea Org, or their apparent friendlier stance on homosexuality and so on and so forth.
Yeah. It does make you wonder.
So as to make sure that nobody else can get to that information. And they will convince you that that information is false, and only they hold the true information, the true knowledge.
Yeah, it's just complete indoctrination.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I said this to Bianca. It's so sad and frustrating and annoying that they have those curious signs out when it's literally you are not allowed to be curious.
Yeah, it's so ironic. I mean, it's like those you hear every once in a while some politician or whatever is extremely homophobic, and like a month later there's like, oh, politician so and so, found in a back alley with a gentleman or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
the ones shouting at the loudest. I don't know. It just sort of every once in a while it gets proven that way.
Yeah. If you ever want solid proof of that, you can go to Manchester when the Conservative Party hold their conference there, and go on Grindr, and you will see the hypocrisy. Bing, 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 and how many meters away it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot of gay friends in there, and they're like, yeah, it just goes absolutely crazy when they're in town. Grindr blows up. I was like, oh.
Well, to be fair, there are quite a few openly gay men in the Conservative Party, I believe. When
Yeah,
I do these sort of layers, I mean, you can see now it's obviously very patchy. You can see a lot of the white underneath. I'm using a titanium white, so it's very, very bright white. So what I'll do everywhere one layer, and then once I finish with the last sort of bit, the first bits that I've done should be already dried, and then I'll just do the second layer on top of it. And usually I usually leave it on the second layer for the day, because if I do another layer, the layers underneath, they don't really have time to dry properly, and I might actually create a hole or smudge it. This has happened to me a few times. So after the second layer of everything, I would leave it for maybe overnight, 24 hours, and then on the following day I will actually finish it off. And then to get really, really subtle and strong, well, not subtle, but very strong colors, and really make them pop, so you don't see any lines, any white underneath the colors.
Nice. Do you use something on it to finish it? Do you use a finisher, or do you have to like bake it, or?
No, I have just a what's the word? A varnish that I put on top of it at the very end to sort of seal all the colors.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also from stopping me to trying to paint, to do more painting on it, because I'm never 100% satisfied. I'm always thinking, yeah, let me leave it there for a week. Let me look at it. Let me sort of not look at it for a week and then look at it again with fresh eyes. And then, oh, there's a mistake. Oh, maybe over here I could do a little bit better. And to sort of negate that, I've decided to always, as soon as I first have the thought, okay, it's done now, and it's dry, then I take the varnish, put the varnish on top, and then it's almost like, well, now it's too late. Now I can't do anything about it. Now, in theory, of course, I could remove the varnish, or I could even paint on top of the varnish and give another varnish. Naturally, I could do that, but it's a sort of a step that once I've done that step, almost like my brain sort of accepts, okay, it's done, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, that's good. Do you ever go over them again, like just decide that you want to redo it?
No, but I have burned or like thrown away, ripped apart paintings that I've completely finished because I was so unhappy with it. but there have not been many.
Oh,
There've been
dear.
maybe 4 or 5 of my darling children that I've sacrificed.
Perished.
But, perished, yes. But But now I sort of decided, you know what? Even if I do a painting that I don't really like, I'll still just keep it around, because it's also interesting to look back at, well, what did you do? What were you doing? What were you sort of experimenting with? Did I have like a green period? Did I have a blue period? Where I use a lot of blue, where I use a lot of green, or anything like that, where I use a certain style much more, a certain medium more than another time, because I think when you're at the moment, you don't really realize these sort of things, but only after, and you look back, then maybe you sort of realize, oh, I was experimenting that, and then you can sort of see your progress, how you've improved, or just changed or whatever. And yeah, I do keep track of everything that I paint. So everything that I paint, so all my paintings, all my bottles of art that I do, they all have a number. I'll give them all a number. They have all a name. I then have a book where I take a picture of everything. I print out the picture. I put it in my book, paintings, when I did them exactly, what inspired me, what did I think of, why did I choose to do it that way, and very, very, that sort of thing. I find that very, very satisfying. And as a child, actually, I used to collect cards. Obviously, there was a period of time with Pokemon cards, and for me, I was collecting so-called Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
I do.
And then what I would do is I would sort them out from countries, and anyway, being a bit nerdy like that. And I still have some of that now.
That sounds amazing.
Not quite as intense as I used to as a child. I think as a child I did that because self-analyzing now myself, that I was very lonely, and I would also say I was I don't know, I was very introverted. I was not really interested in other people.
Yeah.
And I have to say, and I have to admit to this, that I was very arrogant as a child, very arrogant, because of course I was a Scientologist. I mean, I was a marvelous Scientologist. I had this incredible knowledge at my fingertips, and I'm just really delighted right now with this beautiful color that I've just created, this lovely turquoise sort of color. Anyway, and I was very introverted as a child, that's for sure, and I was very arrogant. And I saw normal children, in quotes, so basically any non-Scientology children, as being beneath me. I know it sounds awful, but that's what I generally thought, because I started doing Scientology courses as soon as I was able to read. I mean, when I was on the interview with Aaron, I said, "Oh, I think I was about 4 years old," and everybody was reading me to filth. They said, "What? 4 years old? That can't be true. You're too young for that. You couldn't have read." And so that kind of, it could be I was maybe 5 or 5.5 or anything or something like that. I don't really remember how old I was, but I remember
Before you can read.
As soon as I was able to read, I did courses, and there are several courses for children in Scientology. So the language is of course much more simple. It's not quite as complex. And so I looked at other children. I said, "Oh, look at these stupid children, playing in the mud, wasting their time." And whilst I, gathered all the knowledge and all of that nonsense, and so thankfully I grew out of that. And I guess 50p's. Oh, I had quite a few of those as well, because there were like several special ones, or even 20p's where there are like special pictures on them, and not the usual ones.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to amend that. I still collect 50p's. I don't know why I say collected, like it's a thing I don't do anymore. I very much still do it.
Yeah. How many do you have now? How many different ones?
I cannot even tell you. I've got 50p's that I've paid £5 for.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got a whole
They're like
bunch.
like special edition for the Queen's Jubilee and the 2012 Olympics and
yes. Yeah, special things like that, but also more niche things, which then would mean that the mint would produce obviously not quite so many because it was a more niche thing. I don't know, whatever, first hot air balloon flown or something like that, right? And then those obviously are much rarer then.
Yeah, I've got a few of them. I've got some of the old 50p. No, not really. I've spent the first bit of my life in a town, and then moved to a village and on a farm.
Yeah.
So that changed from being sort of around people to sort of being mostly around animals then, which I very much enjoyed.
Yeah. Were you also a little bit more a child that wasn't really interested so much being around people?
I was interested, but I'm just very weird. I was just always a lot for everybody. I talked too much, talked too loud, too heavy-footed, sound like a herd of elephants going up the stairs. Like, it's just overzealous, and then very keen to just do whatever I can to make up for that.
Okay. Yeah. Try to be less loud,
but yeah,
less,
we had
less noticeable, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. My last girlfriend, we went on holiday to Edinburgh. We went to the Edinburgh Fringe Fest.
Right. That's a comedy festival, isn't it?
And yeah. And I tried my best. I tried my best to just not be a pain. But there'd be things like we went to go watch one of the shows. She said, right, give me a drink here. And I was like, I'm okay with my drink. And she's like, no, you're going to spill it, give it here. I was like, okay, so I give it her, and then a few minutes I was like, can I have my drink, please? I'm thirsty. Yeah. And then after that, a few times I said, look, I can have my own drink. I am perfectly capable. So I took my drink, and then the next time I wanted a sip, I leant down and there was a tipped over cup and wet floor because I had knocked it over, like I was going to do the whole time. She knew.
Yeah.
But stuff like that's quite frustrating when you know you're with a really, really nice, sweet person and they're just deep breathing through their nose just because they're so annoyed at you.
Yeah, no, that's not nice.
I'm just clumsy. I'm very clumsy, and I say, you know, I don't really have a filter on my mouth, and I think part of me is like, as you said, I've just come to accept myself now, and I'm happy. I'd rather be accepting of myself and not having someone, you know, have a vein bulge out their head because my existence is bothering them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the most important thing to first. I mean, there's this famous a drag queen called RuPaul, and I think a very famous quote is, "If you can't love yourself, then how the hell can you expect somebody else to love you?" You know. And and I think that's very apt to sort of, you know, we all have our ways, our quirky things that we might find a little annoying, and of course maybe some other people might find annoying, but other people, they wouldn't be bothered at all, or they will find it absolutely fabulous. And it can just simply be that we have encountered so far people who might be bothered by it, but there's so many more people who are just as weird as us, or as I like to say, eccentric. You know, we are artists after all. And yeah, that's something I've also you know, sort of have to. That's something I'm still working on a little bit. There's some things about myself that I'm sort of a little aware of, that I think, oh, maybe this is not quite sort of the right way to be in a way. But yeah, I'm getting there. Certainly much better than how I felt about myself. You know, like even yeah, even 3 years ago or so.
Yeah, you definitely can't. You can't BS yourself. You cannot.
No.
You
That's right.
can't. You
Yeah.
can pretend to love someone else, and that's
Yeah.
not nice. But you can't pretend to love yourself. And I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I really genuinely love the person that I am,
Awesome.
and the way I think and express myself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of like I don't want to force anything,
Yeah.
and I I think because I spent a lot of time masking,
Masking
just sort
meaning.
of trying to act like a normal person. I'm
Okay.
neurodiverse,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm sort of autistic and ADHD combined.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's like driving a car and you've got two kids arguing in the back. That's my
Right.
brain all day, every day. They never get on.
Okay.
They both want opposite things, and I cannot please them both.
Right.
Um, so yeah, one part of me really wants order and things to be just so and predictability and to
Mm-hmm.
know where I am, and that stops anxiety. And the other part of
Sure.
me is like, you are the most boring person ever. You suck. I'm going to go build a fort. I'm like, no, we can't build a fort right now because
Yeah.
we have things, we have responsibilities.
Right.
So yeah, I'd mask to try and be normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, have you ever met like an excited Labrador and it's like sitting, giving you its paw rolling over, and you haven't even asked it to do anything yet? It
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Exactly.
desperately wants to please you and get that
Yeah.
pat
Yeah.
on that head.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Um, so yeah, I think I can be a bit like that.
Mm.
And then yeah, because I missed my teen years. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely sort of a one-off because I'd be like, "Hi, you're right," and they're like, "Don't talk to me." Oh, okay. I thought we could be friendly still. Um, yeah, so I had just been sort of a single Pringle for the majority of my adult life.
Mm.
So when it came to sort of my later 20s, and I did start going out on dates with people I was attracted to. It was
Mm-hmm.
nice change of pace. Um, but it's like you just missed the train for your awkward gay years.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like 25. You should just know.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've never just known anything. I don't like. Some days I wake up and I want to. I'm never sort of a dressy, wear dresses and makeup, but
Mm-hmm.
some days I just want to have that real male energy,
Right.
and then some days I want to have a real female energy, and that's hard to like do you know what I mean? Like you feel like you've got to advertise yourself if you start dating people.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I mean, you want to dress nicely. You want to dress in a way to sort of stick out, so people are like, "Oh, who's this?" And yeah, of course. I mean, I think that's very natural. I mean, that very natural. I mean, literally. I mean, even in animal kingdom, people in animal kingdom, they, they birds, they put up the plumage and so on and so forth to sort of show what they've got, and then it might actually attract somebody. But then you are in the trouble of, okay, now I have to always dress this way. I always have to act this way. I always have to show interest in this sort of thing that I'm not really interested in.
I just lack that capability.
Okay.
I can't pretend to
To care.
to
You don't
care
care.
too much about something I don't.
Right. Okay.
It does
No,
make it a bit of a nightmare.
I, I'm sometimes a bit too polite with these sort of things. Although I am genuinely interested in almost everything. If somebody, if somebody is engaging and can tell something, whatever it is, something I might not know anything about, but they are genuinely passionate about it, that's something I'm that because I just love seeing the energy of this passion of, this, that, and the other. And, maybe at the end of the conversation, I probably would have forgotten everything they've just said, simply because it was just too much information, too much technical terms, too much information about something that I never knew anything about. But I can still enjoy the conversation I had in the end. 4 wheels and like a stick somewhere, and then like some buttons, and it's supposed to be on the road. It's pretty much all I know about cars.
Keep it on the road. I'm doing all right, I guess.
Okay, exactly. Don't go on the green bits. So yeah, let's have a look what mess I'll make. But for now, it's been going all right.
You've got a nice I can't think of the word. The word's not there.
Well,
method? Nice method you've got?
Method? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I think method works. I've done this quite. I think I'm going to maybe do some doodles in this.
Okay. So you did the lines now with a pencil?
Yep, and then I'm just going to go over it with pen, and then I might do some circles afterwards. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm probably going to do something like I did on this one here of Surge, if I can find it.
Oh, the one with Surge, yeah.
Oh, look, here's the last one I did. This is the last one I was working on from last week. When life goes astray, trust in the gay.
Marvelous, darling.
I don't know what happened. My dog's decided to go haywire.
Maybe he wants to be gay now.
Oh, I think he is.
Oh.
I had my girl. She was in heat, and he just looked just disgusted by it. He's like, "Oh, go away, go put that thing somewhere out." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
No. Well, what I do is I take the bottle, and then I go.
Buffering.
Pardon?
Apparently, it's buffering. I don't know if we're back. Yep, I think we're back.
Okay, marvelous. So what I do is I first remove all the labels of the bottle. Then I go over it with very rough sanding paper to try to make a little bit, because obviously it's very smooth. There will be 4 layers to make it really, really, so it's really white, and you don't see any of the bottle at all. You don't see any. I mean, I don't know if I were to shine a light in it that you could see it or not, but yeah, like that basically. Hope that answered the question.
Hi, Papa Smurf. Hi, Susan. Hi, Keith. When did you get into art? Because I know you've got. I did pop it in the description of this video, your Instagram page. If anyone hasn't checked out Samuel's art, it's amazing. It's got a vast. Well, it makes sense now. You see, when you document everything, because you do have a lot on there.
Yeah, although I haven't posted since about, I don't know, 2 years or so. simply because the pressure sort of came to me. It sort of was like, oh, I need to post some like twice a week. I have to post something, and it just sort of became too much work. And I just sort of realized, you know what, I'm not enjoying the painting process anymore. And sort of I just sort of had to step back from Instagram, from posting stuff anymore. So yeah, I mean, I obviously keep painting and so on and so forth, but I just don't really post much anymore. But there's, I would say, good 80, 90 pieces of mine, maybe even 100 pieces that I have on Instagram. And I made some silly little videos as well. And the painting really, I mean, I was a child, I would paint around and, you know, mess about a bit, but nothing really substantial or serious. And I had no ambition at all of becoming in any way a painter or anything like that. But actually, while I was in the SEOC, when I was a cadet, so this was, I would have been then maybe 14, somewhere around that. We actually had school. So this was a SEOC school. I mean, it was a bit of a joke, of course, but we still had regular lessons like mathematics, English, and so on and so forth. And also one of the lessons was art. Now, usually art meant, okay, you have an hour and you just do whatever, like without any supervision, any guidance, nothing at all. But this one time, one of the students, his mother, her name was Liz or Liza, and she was apparently an artist before she had joined the SEOC. And so she did a bit of an art lesson, and that was really interesting. And that was when the first time I was introduced to this kind of art, of these sort of random lines of she called it, I believe she called it taking a line for a stroll or taking a line for a walk, something like that. And so she introduced me to that idea, and I really, really liked that. But at that time, I didn't use any colors at all. I only used black, white, grays. I was almost like intimidated by colors because I didn't really understand it. If maybe that might be the wrong word to say understand, but I just didn't feel comfortable using colors. So I used a lot of black and gray and so on and so forth. Doing art lessons when I was then obviously at the time in the cadet. Then later on, when I finished with the cadet, and then I did the EPF, so the boot camp for the SEOC, and then I did the SEOC. During that time, I didn't do any painting at all. I just didn't have time for that, of course. And then when I left the SEOC, some years afterwards, I then picked it up again. And I only started painting with color really in about 2020. I started, I would say.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so quite late. Until then, I only painted in blacks and grays and whites. Yeah, I don't know if the right word is, I felt a little overwhelmed by color because there's such a large, there's like no end to it, and that sort of scared me in a way. I don't know. I mean, it's still a way to describe it, because when you work with white, blacks, and grays, you also have a very large amount of variations you can work with. But I just felt much more comfortable and working with those sort of colors, or rather non-colors, apparently. And yeah, and about 2020, I think I would say I started to paint with colors, and that was the time when I started doing painting a bit more seriously, where I thought to myself, okay, well, people do say make your hobby to your job. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this seriously for 1 year, because beforehand I would just do solo ones where it was just me exhibiting, and then I had a couple of let me see. Yeah, I had two where I was showing my art with other artists. And that was, at the end of the year, I sort of realized that, yes, I still very much enjoy it. And yes, I would love to actually do this as my work. But the trouble is that I felt an incredible amount of imposter syndrome whenever I was at one of those exhibitions, because I felt like, why am I here? Like, clearly these people are so much better than me. Most of them would have gone to art school and things like that. I would obviously talk to the other artists, and I just felt like really bad because I was like, I don't know, I never went to art school. I just sort of picked it up. And during the pandemic, I bought several art books, on art theory and colors and things like that to sort of try to understand it a little bit better. But other than that, I didn't, I obviously was not educated in that way. And I really felt like an imposter. And I felt myself almost like sabotaging my own exhibitions, sabotaging my own potential success. I mean, it sounds a little arrogant, but yeah. And I just felt like, okay, well, clearly there's something inside of me telling me you can't do it, you can't make it. So maybe I need to work on that first before I do any more. And I haven't really actively worked on that, except to just, I don't know, accept more compliments. For example, I'm dreadful with compliments. I don't like when people give me compliments. It makes me really uncomfortable. But now I've in the past I would say 6-8 months or so, I've started to say simply thank you, or thanks for noticing, or whatever. Just take the compliment rather than say, oh, no, it was nothing, or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, so that's my story of how I started to paint. How about yourself? How did you pick it up?
Just over lockdown. I've never been at all arty. I've been practical. Like I can hang a door. I
Sure,
could
yeah.
fit the floor in. I could make a table, make a chair, make kitchen cabinets.
Yeah, of course, you were doing carpentry for a while.
Yeah, and but I've never been. If I was going to paint, it would be to paint a wall because the wall needed painting.
Yeah, right. Got it.
But it was a therapy. It was a therapeutic aspect. Obviously, lockdown wasn't an easy time for anybody. But I just tried to make the best of what I could, and
Okay.
EMDR, which is the rapid eye movement thing. But because I have aphantasia, I can't see pictures in my head.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Do you?
There was a table on the right, and yeah, it'd just be like that rather than I just see the room I was in my head.
Okay. And when
So
did you realize that that was maybe not how people have memories? Like, were you ever sort of aware of that, or did it come much later when you maybe talked with friends and then you sort of realized, they have a weird way of remembering things?
this again was just lockdown. It was too much time on the internet. I'd learned a lot.
Okay.
I found out that people seen stuff in their head, and I was like, "What?" Because someone said, "Imagine a ball,"
Yeah.
and then some people were saying that this is what some people see, and this is what other people see, and I was like, "I don't
Right.
see anything." Some
Yeah.
people just see in black and white. Some people are colorblind in their mind's eye.
Right. Right.
But I feel like that's what I always struggled with starting a piece, starting anything art wise. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've got nothing in mind for it to become.
Right.
So yeah, this style just I'm quite good tapping into flow. I do a lot of Tai Chi and like meditation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So and color, I'm like the opposite of you. I'm like all of the color.
Yeah. And
Um,
you did talk about that you've done art with, whilst listening to music or sounds, anything like that, and that in combination with your memory being sound like that. how is that then for you? Like, is that an easier process for you to start a piece?
Yeah, so I have if I wanted to get myself into that sort of flow mindset state, then I'd listen to piano, jazz, sort of jazz flute, and I will pick an instrument to follow at a time, or just have
anything like that.
No, it was just kind of like like double dutch, like skip rope. You just had to wait. You had to wait.
Okay.
You had to wait, and then you jump on it, and then you go in.
Yeah. Got it. Interesting. Yeah, I've done a few pieces as well. Actually, many pieces I've done with art. With art, obviously. No, but I mean with music. And when you go on my Instagram page, I don't know if you've noticed that, but many pieces will have music in the background, and that music is oftentimes the music that I used for as an inspiration for then the piece that I show in the little video clips that I painted.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I guess I do it similarly to you in the sense that I listen to the music. What I like to do is actually close my eyes, and just go for it and try not to influence the flow of the pen, because of course, I mean, for me, when I close my eyes and I move my finger or I use my pen or something, and I make a circle or I make any sort of movement, I can see it in my mind what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? And what I try to do then is try to block that I do not see it, completely go blank, so that the movement of the pen is completely dependent on how the music goes, the speed of it, how suddenly maybe an instrument just whams in, and it just sort of makes me do a erratic movement.
My mood dictates the colors, and the music dictates the pattern.
Okay.
But some of the neurographic art styles that you do, if you're in a bad mood or you have negative energy, you'll do stuff like this, and then you'll do one circle, and you'll get your pencil and just angry scribble it all out.
Right.
And then you can do that in a different color or in a different pen or a different style, just to sort of show that that's its own part of the piece. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. To sort of isolate a particular emotion, maybe.
Yeah. I don't. Some things I just get, and I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. I was watching this Netflix program about intelligence, and it had pictures on, and it said it had like a pink dog, but so yeah, I learned a lot.
And you can just put it on top of whatever it is that you're reading, basically.
Yeah. And this book's called How to Live: 27 Conflicting Answers and One Weird Conclusion. It is funny. Every single chapter contradicts the one before, and they all sound really, really good and make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, well, we're all out, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly
Out of
a conversation
Scientology.
starter.
Yeah. But I won't start a conversation with anybody. I'm joking myself. I'm very socially awkward.
Oh goodness, me too. I have sometimes. I mean, it's better now, but oh god, I had so many times so difficulty with social cues that I didn't know when to shut up or when to now I'm supposed to talk, now I'm supposed to answer to that or whatever. And I don't know if it's just because of how I was or because of the way how I grew up to because in Scientology there's always this like what's the word, hierarchy. There's always somebody above
Yeah.
you, better than you. In every state, in every sort of state, even as a child, even as you're just a regular Scientologist, you're not even working for Scientology. There are other Scientologists who are better than you, because they have donated more money. They've been to the local org more often than you have. They've done more courses than you, and so on and so forth. And there's always this knowledge that there are thousands and thousands of people way more important, way better than you, and you just sort of learn to. I mean, that's how I felt anyway. I can't speak obviously for everyone's experience in Scientology, but I always felt like be small, don't say anything, don't talk until you're spoken to, and things like that, which is a sort of old-fashioned sort of way. And so when I then left the Sea Org, I sort of had to learn how to, I don't know, how to sort of get on in social situations, or doing phone calls and things like that. Oof, I absolutely hated doing phone calls. I mean, I still don't like doing phone calls. Like I'm talking about, like talking to some office, talking to, I don't know, the hospital or anything like that. I really hate doing that. And in the
Yeah,
past,
me too.
I really had to sort of work myself up to do it. Now I just sort of had to say, all right, just get on with it, and I can do it. But yeah, I had quite some time. I had difficulty with just social situations, and anyway. But
It's like trying
yeah,
to act normal.
yeah, basically trying to act like whatever normal is, because I was painfully aware particularly once I've mentally left Scientology, that I had a very unusual upbringing, and because I mean at the time, at first I didn't think it was unusual because that was all I knew. But then when I slowly started to open up myself and talk to my friends about my past, they would look at me like a bowling ball, like eyes popped open and the mouth open and completely shocked about what I'm telling them. And that made me sort of realize, okay, maybe that was a little unusual. And so I slowly became painfully aware that I am not normal in that sort of way. And yeah, I was just trying to be, as you said, just trying to be normal, trying to fit in and trying to please everybody, that everybody liked me, and make sure never offend anybody. Don't really say what you think, but say what people would like to hear. Always smile, and if possible laugh at the joke, even if you would have liked to actually roll your eyes at the joke. And yeah. And now I would say I've gotten to a place where it's sort of somewhere in between. I always try to be polite and respectful and so on and so forth, but with my friends anyway, I can tell them, oh, do shut up now. When they just go on
Yeah.
about something, I feel much more comfortable doing that. So yeah, I would say I've gotten to a good point with that. Although there's still always room for improvement, is there not?
Yep. I think that's one of the things that make me feel like sort of it resonates with me. The people who grew up in Scientology, I feel like they essentially forced you to have an upbringing similar to people who are on the spectrum,
Right.
and forced to live in it's like you're forced to live in insanity, and you're not allowed to
Yeah.
question it or say anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, I would say, like, well, how come pretty people can push in front and that's okay, but if an ugly person pushes in front, that's not okay? But if
Right.
the ugly person tells the pretty person off, then they're in the wrong,
Right.
even
Right.
though they're queuing. And who decides who's pretty? And people would not answer these questions and look at me like I was mad. And to me, these are very valid questions that need answering. They're not in the greater scheme of things, especially like, you know, questions you would have growing up in Scientology, like, oh, why has mom been sent to a different country? Shush, you can't ask. That is actually insanity. Like, it's insanity inducing. And I just feel like the inability to talk about it, and this weird feeling that something isn't right, something doesn't sit with you. Everyone's acting weird, but you can't say everyone's acting weird, because it's a lot more logical and understandable to believe that you're acting weird or you don't understand something.
Yeah, of course. It's rather that there's something wrong with you, rather than something wrong with everybody else, right?
Yeah, because otherwise everyone else would be saying something. You wouldn't be the only one with a problem.
Right.
And I just think, I'm not saying that people on the spectrum have like a sad existence, but I feel like it's sad to force someone to have an experience that I feel is very alienating, very isolating, very confusing, and deeply, deeply saddening. To find yourself unacceptable, inherently unacceptable, is nothing that anyone should go through, let alone a child.
Yeah. Forcing unnatural behavior, or unnatural, behavior that is just not, what's the word, sort of like the way how you would deal with a situation, going completely against what your instinct tells you, what your own eyes see, what your own, ears are hearing, going completely against that. Do whatever I could do so they say I'm proud of you. And yeah.
I suppose you can't even say, oh, I want this from you, because then it'd be a question of why.
Right.
You'd probably go for a sec check, and who's got in your head to make you think that, and what do we need to handle. Yeah, it's just that whole not being able to speak and not be able to say, hey, I think this is off, is it not? And then you're treated like.
Yeah, I mean it's also like, for example, my mother, she just never really believed me. I went to for whatever reason, I have no idea why my mother sent me to this school. This was like a Catholic school with nuns in them, and I went there from the age of I want to say 8 until 10, something like that. And the nuns, they would hit the children, they would spank them, they would hit them. They had like a some sort of stick that they would hit the children
back of the
on
hand.
on the back of the hand. Exactly, classic. And I was aware enough to know that is not allowed as a child. That is not allowed in school. I knew there was a difference for whatever reason if the parents did it, but I knew that if somebody did it that wasn't your parents, that was not allowed. That was not something that's acceptable. And I told my mother that this was happening, and she just didn't believe me. She just flat out didn't believe me. And I'm not saying that parents should immediately believe everything that the child is saying, but if a child says, I'm being hurt, these things are happening in school and so on and so forth, at least, do some investigation, find out, or I don't know. It just seemed, anyway, she didn't believe me. So what I did, I said, all right, I need to take the matter in my own hand. So I went to the local police station. And I told them, and they said, well, do you have any bruises or anything like that? And I didn't have any bruises. And so they said, and then I asked, well, what if all of the children from my classroom were to come here and say that this is happening, and maybe one or two of them may have a bruise? Can you then do something? I basically wanted him to put the teacher, this nun, into prison, right? And and then he said, well, I suppose if there's so many children saying, then maybe there's something I can do. And I thought, yes. So I went to the school, and then I talked to my classmates, and they were all just completely afraid to do that, to go and speak against the school, to do that. And so that never happened. But yeah, my mother, she just didn't believe me. She just didn't believe me in that regard, or anything really. And she never, I mean, I remember when I was quite young, I would say maybe 6 years old or so, I told my mother that I actually would love to learn an instrument, to play music. And she said no. And when I asked why, she gave a very logical answer, actually. She said, look, I'm going to waste all of this money letting you go to school for music, and then you spend all this time doing music, not spending the time doing Scientology, and then maybe after 10 years you decide you don't want to do it anymore, and then I invested all of this money for absolutely nothing. And yeah, that was sort of my relationship with my mother. It was always very not really ever try to understand her child. Yeah. And of course, when making mistakes or breaking something, it's always, well, it's not well, he's a toddler, his body's growing, and he might be a bit clumsy. It's always, well, what are your evil intentions? You must have committed overt to that sort of thing has happened. And
I thought, well, what did you do that for? I thought that was bad. Like, I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
that was like, ugh. But yeah, like, what overts do you have? That would be, my nan used to do this thing where she'd say, are you lying? And I'd say, no. And she'd say, stick out your tongue. And I'd stick out my tongue, and she'd check your tongue for lie spot. She'd be like, lie spot. And I'd be like, I'm not lying. Show me the spot. I'm not lying. I don't know where the spots come from. Yeah, she'd try and have me up for, and I wouldn't have done anything. But yeah, that was her trick.
Oh goodness! Wow.
Check my tongue for lie spots.
Something similar to that, I suppose. My mother did, because I have also a brother and a sister. They're both older than me, and my sister went through, I don't know, she was probably 13, 14, something like that, and she was, during a time, obviously, she got a lot of spots on her face. And my mother was very strict in regards to eating sugar, eating chocolates and things like that. And she wouldn't allow us to just eat whenever we wanted. Like, she would give us some chocolate, she would give us some cake or whatever, and outside of that we were not allowed to eat anything. And my mother would always say, oh, you've got another spot. What, did you eat any chocolate? Did you eat any sweets? And my sister, she had, bless her, she had a lot of spots, and for some reason my mother was able to tell there's one more over there. And so obviously the only reason why that is there is because she ate some chocolate or whatever. And I don't know how much of that was actually accurate, but yeah, she did something similar like that, like you Nan did.
Yeah. I used to check my tongue, be like, I don't know what she's looking at, and then she'd catch me checking my tongue, and she'd be like, right, what you been lying about? I see you checking your tongue now. Like, nothing.
Right. Yeah, because that's also mean, because you can't see your own tongue when you stretch it, unless you're in front of a mirror.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what my end goal
of the painting
is here.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like it though.
Yeah, I didn't actually catch you doing the large circle. How did you do that? What did you use?
I just went around the paint palette.
Oh, right. Okay, good. Yeah.
I am very low budget. I've never trained. I'd buy like the cheapest art supplies.
Oh yeah, totally. We have in Switzerland, we have an online like shop. You can buy stuff secondhand. from people, and it's called Ricardo. Ricardo, if you're listening, do sponsor this, darling. Well, you can try, can't you? And people sell stuff, secondhand, and that's where I would buy canvases, where I would buy paints, because then in the description it would say, oh yeah, I was bored. I bought, 5 canvases, and then I painted one, and I realized actually I don't like painting, so now I've got these canvases, I don't know what to do, and then they'll sell them for dirt cheap. Same with paintings and things like that. So yeah, that's where I usually get my art supply, unless of course I need a very specific tool. Like for example, I like doing gilding. I gild with gold sheets, but also silver sheets. And for that, I use a special kind of brush that you need for that, and so that sort of thing. For that very specific thing, then I do have to go to a special supply shop to buy them, because that's not something I would find in this online secondhand shop.
Oh yeah, I think that's. I like just normal secondhand. Normal secondhand shops.
Yeah.
And you get like the live, laugh, love poster canvases.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere. So I'll get them and just paint them white.
Yeah.
Like, and sand it off and then reuse them.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So I've done 2 more circles, because this one here was giving me like Cinderella
Right. Yeah.
carriage. It was giving me Cinderella carriage vibes. So I thought I'm going to do something up here and then something down here.
Now I actually really like that. Also, when you showed me the other one, because you have the single lines going around, almost like in a sort of disordered sort of way, but then in the midst of that you have these perfect circles, and I love these sort of like contrasting things. I find that makes it really interesting when you have like paintings or art or something where you have sort of almost like 2 things, almost like opposites, trying to live together, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I like stuff that's visually, I would take visually stimulating over beautiful or artistic.
Right. Okay. Sure.
So you seen the one I did off your profile, of your thumbnail picture?
Yeah, totally. Love that.
I'm going to grab that quick so you can see it better on a video, because I can tilt it. I've got it up here. But yeah, this is one that I've done that, where I've done the background in a different pattern and a different colour. So a lot of people could look at this and just think, oh my goodness, that is too much.
Yeah, but you totally can see the silhouette. Amazing. There's a lot of work with this dot method. So did you do first the back, so I can see like the greens, this orange in the corner, this beige in the top? Did you do that first, and then or how did you do that?
I would have started off with something like this, where I just do random patterns with different colours, and then I pick sort of a warm tones or cool tones. And so if I'm doing sort of cool tones, I'll go cool tones on the outside, warm tones on the inside. Or in this case, these are both coolish tones. But you see we've gone the white and grey for the chef whites.
Yeah.
And then I've gone blue, different shades of blue. This size here.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I go down to these sizes here. And then I'll go right down through all of them, and we'll end up with
tiny little dots. Those almost look like crochet needles.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they are. I think they might be for nails, but this bit's good to get. It's good to wipe the paint off. So I like these. And this is what I used to do the elephant. If anyone hasn't seen, I'll show you now quick. If you haven't seen LRon Hubbard cult story of the pink elephant, please do go and watch it. Go and subscribe to him. But he told a fantastic story comparing going clear to imagining a pink elephant and then just stopping seeing the pink elephant. I'm not sure how well we're seeing this.
Yeah. You
So you
definitely
see
can
the
see it.
pink elephant
Yeah.
and then just stop seeing it.
Yeah. This is so clever. I like art that is clever like that. Very smart.
I can't get it. I'll get it right. I'll get a picture one day. It's hard
No,
to
but you
show
can
in the
totally see it.
pictures.
Yeah, it's obviously because you need to tilt it and move it around a bit, and then you can really see that. Yeah.
Thank you, Tilly. Would you mind dropping Samuel as well, the SP chef? _SP_chef, I believe. Capital T, capital SP, capital C.
Marvelous. Thank you so much. Right.
Yeah, I very much like this. This is one of my. I was so stressed doing this because I started doing this. Oh look, I'll do this, inspired by Samuel, and then I seen your Instagram page and that you were a very good artist, and I panicked. I was like, oh.
No, but that's marvelous. I love the painting.
Thank you.
Do you post your art? More like all of your art, or do you only like recently? Because obviously on Instagram you do have, but you know, do you have anywhere else where you can see all of the art that you've done?
I had another Instagram before, but I lack your organization skills and will to do all of that. So it only had a few on, and a lot of them are just neurographic or pride themed or animals, basically. I've just got so I do this neurographic style, and where have we got it now? But I'll do it with dogs.
Yeah.
I get a picture now. All different animals. What have I got here? Oh, here's a cow.
Oh yeah.
This is where I was just starting off, probably. Oh, there's
oh yeah,
friend's dog, and then some otters.
Oh yeah.
Because who doesn't like otters?
Oh yeah, I love otters.
So this is how I started, just doing this. Oh, here we go. Someone said dash hound earlier in the chat. We've got a dash hound fan.
Oh, marvelous.
Dachshund.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a doggy. You see,
oh, yeah,
I do not shy away from the colour.
Yeah, awesome.
And then this one is a more sapphic picture. Oh, this one's pretty cool. This is probably one of the first designs I did. So this was like an alien
Oh yeah,
chick, I guess.
Yeah, in a bikini.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's my little frog friend. I like drawing frogs.
Oh, look at that.
Toads and frogs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's sort of the more basic neurographic lines on the back, really, that took the most time.
Yeah.
This is just a way of me figuring out what colours I could get out of the palette,
Sure.
my paint palette, and afterwards I thought, oh, I may as well draw something on top of that.
Yeah, cool.
So I just had to fully let my ADHD go then for 10 minutes. I don't know how I got there.
Oh, that's all right.
In my show and tell.
Darling, if you've got it, flaunt it. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Now we've been going now already for 2 hours. I just saw, which is
amazing.
Wow. it hasn't really felt like 2 hours, to be honest.
No. If you want to do it part two, I would absolutely love that, and we can go over onto your channel, and you won't know. You won't know. So everyone has to go over and subscribe and put your notification bells on.
Indeed.
To Samuel, got his. Yep, your link's there in the chat.
Excellent, thank you.
But yeah, no pressure. But if you did want to do a part two and finish the bottle off, just let me know, and I'll
Yeah,
happily
absolutely.
join you over on your channel.
But I would also love to show maybe a bottle that I've done in the past that it's already completely done. So maybe people have and also yourself have a bit of a better idea of how that would look in the end.
Oh, I do. I love seeing it. Did you see Bianca shared her grandmother's art?
Whoops. No, I haven't actually seen that.
Absolutely gorgeous. I think I can't remember if she did it on part one, Paint and Ponder on my channel, or part two on hers, but she uses lots of fabrics and different mediums.
All right, yeah.
And sculptures and oh yeah, there's one she did in fabric that I really really liked. It was a woman put like a flower crown on another woman.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, just in case you ever wanted to see something a little bit different, I haven't seen anything like that before. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, I'd love to see bottles. I'm looking.
Yeah. So this is in the end, I will also buy one of these like empty wooden carts where you would put the bottle in and transport it, and I will paint it with the colors that I used, and then just go over the flow like that, so it just repeats itself. And then over here, you can actually see we were talking about me numbering everything. So I've got here a stamp that I made with my symbol, with my name in German, and this is art number 141.
Wow.
And then up here on the top, I have the name and the date, and then my signature as well. So yeah, so I can keep track on everything. So the big reveal, darlings. So yeah. So yeah, this is how eventually this one is going to look. As you can see, if you look over here, the colors are obviously not very strong. You can see, the lines are a bit thicker here, a bit thinner there. And in the end, it really is very, very, like, you don't see any white. It's all no shading at all, And I mean, I think you do it the same way that you do first the lines, then you paint the colors, and then at the very end, when it's all done, you go over it with black to sort of emphasize the lines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, that's the future, brother.
Yeah. Very nice. I think they're fantastic. I really like the style, and to put it on bottles and have it the story, and this is where the bottle came from, and then this is the story of me doing it, and then it goes on, and it's part of a bigger story, because it's not just the story, it's now 141 with 140 other stories connected. I think you've done fantastic. You've got like a labyrinth of genius and art you've smushed together. Look, you did it, and your wonderful coat as well.
Yeah, that's right. I always wear this, in case anybody's wondering why am I wearing this coat. I bought this coat again on this Ricardo side because I thought I'd put on an apron. Like, this is quite often you would put on like an apron, for painting. But then I thought, well, I always have to wear an apron every day when I'm at work. So I thought I wanted something else. And then I saw this coat for like £5 or something. And I thought, okay, why not? It was just right my size. So that's the simple story of that, really.
Yeah, mine's the same. I found it in a charity shop. I was like, oh,
perfect.
That'll keep me clean.
Yeah.
You come with me.
All right. Well, my darling, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, for having this experience with you. And yeah, I would love to do a second part. I'll do a little bit more on the bottle, and then to the point where I think I might actually be able to finish it off on the second part, or at least close to finish it anyway. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. It was lovely to speak to you.
Yeah. And thanks everybody for watching and for commenting and questioning and all of that. All right.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye, darlings.
Bye. Bye-bye.